Alright guys, it's time for my B-Twin bike update. I think it's been like half a year since I last uploaded a video about it. So yeah, let me tell you, I think in this period of time I did overall, the last video was about 8,000 kilometers, but now it's more like 14,000, getting closer to 15 I would say. And yeah, so let me tell you, so these are the original wheels that came with the bike. I would even say the front one is original. And the rear one is the cheap wheel, you know, like $30 from the shop, and they're destroyed really. Front wheel is just wobbling, and the bearings are cooked. Well, like I would say 15,000 kilometers or 10,000 miles for a cheap $20 wheel is not bad, and it wasn't serviced at all. And then the hubs here are pretty much cooked, you know. It's just stocky, and it's just completely out of true. But yeah, and these are the new wheels. These wheels cost me, like, I would say not much. It's the giant PR2 wheels. They actually were given to me second hand, you know, just instead of these wheels in the shop. I would say I think I paid about $100. Yeah, I think about $100. They were used already, so I just needed something, you know, to roll around, because pretty much I'm thinking about getting a race machine for myself, and I'm thinking about giant bike. So I think probably it's going to be TCR. So these wheels were just, you know, like just to keep me going for until I get the new bike. But in general, this bike was actually like the parts were changed. So as you can see here is Shimano 105 brakes instead of the B-Twin calipers, and then the new specialized seat post, and then the wheels, and then the crankset and the cassette and the chain. Everything was changed and serviced, and bottom bracket as well recently, because everything was cooked. But in general, let me tell you, when I got this bike first, like, it was fine for the first maybe 6,000 kilometers. Then the wheels started playing, you know, and I had to change the rear wheel. Then at 10,000 kilometers, I noticed that the brakes were pretty much too bad. You know, they were actually too bad from the day one. But I've ridden a few bikes in that period, you know, of time, you know, in the first half a year with really good braking, and I just couldn't stand that bad braking performance of Tektro calipers. So I installed 105 brakes, and it was actually a hustle to do so, to work it on this frame, and I will record another video about it. But in general, I changed brakes, and the performance of braking really improved for sure. Then I changed the saddle as well from B-Twin. But yeah, in general, this bike is great. It's pretty heavy, 11 kilos stock, and with these giant wheels maybe 10.5 kilos, with Fulcrum wheels maybe closer to 9.8 kilos, but still pretty heavy. Bike itself performed great. You know, I have no actually issues. This bike is awesome still. You can log in miles, you can log in endurance rides, you can actually do anything you want on this bike, a part of doing racing, if you want to compete, because that's what I noticed lately. I did a few races here in China, and you just have no chance on this bike, because in the crit, when the speed is 46k an hour, this bike is just a huge drag, and it's just terrible aerodynamically, and you just cannot compete on this bike. That's 100%. It's a given. It's for sure. But in general, once again, this bike is awesome for $500. I still think, like, look at these shifters, you know, I crashed so many times, but they're fine. Shimano Sora is great stuff. Shimano Sora R3000 and new stuff is awesome, man. You cannot really ask for more, you know, for $500 for the whole bike that is working perfectly. It's heavy, yes. It's not aerodynamic, yes. Is it working? Yes, it is. Like, I mean, like, you cannot really ask for more for $500, and it actually looks the business, really, man. Like, lots of the guys said, like, this bike is looking great, you know, for $500. Great, you know, like, great looking bike, black and white. It's heavy. Setup is not aero, you know, like, for sure the The hoods are pretty high, more relaxed upright position, but that's what I did. That's what I did from the start, you know. But if you want to race, definitely need a racing machine. In general, I will be using this bike for sure. Endurance rides to just not, to just not beat up my Fulcrum wheels, and just to not beat up my good bike, especially on rainy days with all the water that can get into bottom brackets and bearings. You just can use this bike, and it's so good, I think, to have two bikes. Now I'm really getting into it, and I think very soon I'm gonna be getting a new bike. So for sure, like, I really love this bike. Once again, do I recommend it? Maybe not. If you are able to get giant bikes or any more of a reseller that is more specific on cycling, like Trek or Giant or Specialized, probably is going to be a bit more expensive, but at the same time you're getting most likely a better frame and better quality, I would say, because I've ridden a few Giant content bikes. Like, I didn't do the reviews, but they just felt lighter a little bit. Not 11 kilos for sure. I would say maybe a kilo lighter. And most likely, if you're buying from the Specialized cycling brand, I don't know about how it is in Europe, but here in Decathlon, guys, mechanics, they're not really that good, like, I noticed that I had to usually go to Giant store, to fix my bike, because most likely in Decathlon, these guys from B20, they were not really experienced, like maybe 18-year-old guys, just actually still at school. So yeah, I usually went to Giant. I think you will have better experience maybe with Giant. Not that I had lots of problems, but in general, this bike brand, I would say, is more of the recreational cycling. If you want to get seriously into cycling, better getting yourself a specific cycling brand, like, once again, Trek, maybe Giant, maybe Specialized, maybe kind of like these big brands. But yeah, I'm still happy. Once again, we'll be riding this bike on those I will still be riding this bike until I get a new one, but when I get a new one, I will be using it for racing. This bike will still be used for long endurance rides, when I just need to log the miles in. On the long rides, maybe rainy days, and even on any day that the weather is not the best, I wouldn't be taking my good bike, so I will be taking this one. And also all the commutes where I need to lock my bike, just not to worry about it being stolen, so for sure. So yeah, this is the update, getting close to 15,000 kilometers or 10,000 miles on B-Twin Triben 520. Thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I will be happy to answer them. But this bike actually got raced in the first cycling stage race in my life, and I got top 10% on it. Not about the bike, more about my legs for the result, but it didn't let me down in terms of frame. It was reliable as actually any bike that is pretty heavy and aluminum, or even steel, it's usually quite reliable, so you won't have to worry about it, even if you crash a little bit on this bike. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.